That's awesome. Fantastic. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Looking forward to speaking to Rita today.
You ready?
You ready to do this?
Here we go. What a gorgeous day.
I know, right?
Okay, off to Puente.
All right, so we're going to be talking to Rita Mancera, who is the executive director of Puente, and I'm looking forward to, just having a good conversation with her. Now, what are some of your favorite memories from being down here? We're down in Pescadero, just a stunning blue sky day. Just wondering what your favorite memory is down here.
So I would say coming out here with the kids in the fall for all the Halloween pumpkin patch activities.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorite things we used to do every year, and the kids were so excited. How about you?
My family always camps down here. So we come down and we spend weekends, and especially when the kids were little, we could be in one spot and they could run around, and then we'd spend all day at the beach. Enjoying the incredible nature out here has been really key to our family. It's still, my kids are grown now, but it's still where we come back to when they're home and we want to spend a family day. But I think that's what a lot of the people in San Mateo County in our area think of when they think of the coast. They think of the beauty, they think of the ocean, and just the natural resources that are here. And it's a place to spend time with family and friends and enjoy California. But I think a lot of people don't realize that there's also a lot of essential workers here. People who are providing the food that we eat, people who are really part of the fabric and the infrastructure of San Mateo County, and that's who Puente serves. Mm-hmm. And really making sure that we are talking to Rita about all the great work they're doing, serving, and they serve everybody. I mean, they're 0 to 5-year-olds and seniors and everyone in between, especially first-gen students, people in low-income households, and they really cover the gamut of the community down here.
Yeah, she's been an incredible voice for that population, and we're so lucky to have her on our board of Leadership Council. She always brings in unique perspectives about what's happening on the coast that we often aren't thinking about. So grateful for all her help in helping us get Leadership Council off the ground. So,
yes, she definitely brings so much wisdom and knowledge, not just about the coast, but really about running a large nonprofit that is part of our safety net infrastructure in San Mateo County.
Yeah, I think because this area is so isolated from the rest of San Mateo County, I think Rita is one of the main voices for the people who live and work out here, especially through all the recent disasters there was a fire, and then the power was out, I think, for 6 or 8 days.
During the flooding?
Yeah. So they've been through a lot, and they really are a tight-knit community that has to, I think, rely on each other.
Yeah, it is a special community. Yeah. It's really a special community. I'm looking forward to hearing Rita talk more about not only the work she's doing, but the community she's serving, which I know she feels really passionately about. Hey Rita, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having us today.
Hi, Rita. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming all the way.
Oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
what an incredible pleasure to come this far.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Out here, beautiful today. So It's beautiful. It's a beautiful always, but especially today that is sunny.
Yes, and just for anyone watching, we're talking to Rita Mancera, who is from Puente and the executive director, and we are really honored to be here today. And before we get started, I want to talk about the space.
This is going to be, next time you come, this is going to be a fully operational childcare center. And just to put it in perspective, there's no childcare center, licensed or unlicensed, in our entire community.
Tell us a little bit about you and your work and what brought you to Puente, and how did you end up being the head of such an impactful organization?
My husband and I moved together to this small area. I was coming back from Mexico City. And eventually I started volunteering for Puente when I first came, and I was helping them with their newsletters. And the executive director of Puente then did something with me that she did with anyone she met for the first time at the post office. She took me on a tour of Pescadero, showed me the farms, introduced me to people and farm workers, and I think that event itself changed whatever I could have done in the community or in the Bay Area, and I decided to engage with them and eventually started working with them.
I'm talking about Puente and the services that you have. Now, you're a core agency, and you serve the South Coast community. Tell us about the South Coast, and tell us about what is comprised of that community, and who are your customers.
La Honda, Loma Mar, Pescadero, and San Gregorio. We are unincorporated. We believe that we are about 50% Anglo, 50% Latinx community. If you look at the census data or the economic income levels in our community, they tell you a different story than the reality. This is a community of extreme contrast. You have a lot of land, you have a lot of wealth, and you have at the same time, within distance, people that make very low wages, depending on the work that they do, housing conditions that are not the best. But the part about this community that has always attracted me is the people. It's tight in the sense that a lot of people know each other, they support one another, they know what's going on, and they advocate together. But it's also really hardworking people, really sweet, really caring, and there's a lot of opportunities when we kind of come close together just to hear each other's stories. It's just really an honor for me to, and really like a privilege to work for this community.
And you drive up here, you drive up Highway 1, and you have the ocean, you have the cliffs. It's relaxing, it's beautiful. People come and have picnics, and they spend their weekends here. And this is a real place of respite for so many people. And as wonderful as it is, it can also be a really big challenge. And so just thinking a little bit about those challenges and the community here and this wonderful, vibrant, close community, I think what you guys have known for a very long time is that there are these challenges. There are the challenges in terms of water resources, there's challenges with housing, and I think the rest of the county and state really are starting to understand those challenges, and mainly because of a lot of the recent tragedies. We had the pandemic. Obviously, we had incredible flooding out on the coast. So I was wondering if you could tell us what are your immediate needs? These are really big, intractable problems, and they're going to need a lot of cooperation to solve them. But are there anything that you think can be done in the short term to help alleviate some of the stress that communities are under?
A lot of our attention was to save some of the immediate needs. We don't have any public transportation. The last route that San Mateo County had for our community was taken away last fall. And so there's no connection to La Honda or Half Moon Bay or Santa Cruz. We don't have very good sources of water. We don't have a sewer system in our community. Internet, let alone super spotty. But the pandemic highlighted a lot of these issues because it was when the students went remote, right? And then you had students who did not have computers, and then students who had computers but had no internet, students who had a phone but didn't have cell phone signal. And all of those things, were addressed through different collaborations and connections and partnerships and all that. But something that we started doing more recently is to start looking at the long-term solutions too. So, for example, yes, we have a mobile laundry right now that is helping a lot of families, comes on a weekly basis, comes and goes. And that's addressing the immediate need of having laundry services. But we need to start advocating and securing funding and infrastructure so that people actually have a place to go and do their laundry when they need it, and not on Wednesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. only, right? Same thing for our clinic. So we have a partnership with the county. They operate our full clinic here on Thursdays in the evenings. But again, like people here are restricted to come to the clinic on those hours. Otherwise, they need to go over the hill, either to Half Moon Bay or San Mateo. If it's specialized services, they have to go to San Mateo. And so they have to take a whole day of their work day. And housing, which is the issue that is more highlighted right now, especially for the challenges that you mentioned. We need more accountability that people that are providing that housing is in good shape, is heated. We need those places to be inspected on a regular basis. And so there's not a lot of accountability about that. So there's a lot of inequities when it comes to that. And so housing, there's a couple of things that we're doing to help people have at least a written lease in place and not just a verbal agreement. And so that's going to improve things. We do a lot of presentations about landlord-tenant rights, so people know that it is okay to say that something broke down and that is the responsibility of the landlord to fix it. And so what we really need is more affordable housing in our community for farm workers, for low-income families.
When I look at who your audience is, it's 0 to 5, school-age children and their families, it's seniors, it's first-generation college students. That really encompasses all stages of life and the whole family. And the services you provide seem to be sort of in 5 program areas. You have health, mental health and wellness. You have education, civic engagement and public policy, as well as community building. So tell me, what does a day in the life of Puente look like?
So our community development team will spend probably all day attending individual cases and processing financial assistance for people. And so if they have a question about taxes, about a bill that they receive, if they cannot afford rent for some reason, they'll call the team and they'll have an appointment for that. A lot of the appointments, we're doing them now over the phone. It's something that changed over the pandemic, and it was actually a very good system. So if people want to come here, they can, but if they want to just stay the call from home or work, they can as well. You'll see us studying with a dental clinic in La Honda. And all at the same time, we have other teams like the community engagement and public policy team analyzing what policies affect our community. Currently, we're working on the housing elements and making sure that we provide context and input on the housing needs for our community, because that's going to impact for the next 8 years.
Rita, tell us a little bit about what your biggest challenges are right now.
For a while, it has been 3, healthcare, childcare, and housing. And those are the biggest challenges for our community. For Puente, hiring staff because of our remote location. When it comes to funding, I think that philanthropy is starting to change, but for a while you needed to kind of modify what you were doing to match what the funder wanted to do. And I've seen a change over the last 5 years that we really articulate what we need and funders respond to what we need. In terms of facilities, that's probably our top priority right now. We are in spaces that belong to the school district and that are very old, and so we have to invest in renovations so that we can have actually a safe and quality space for children. And we need to replace our buildings. There's damages in the floors and the roofs. We constantly invest on fixing small things, but there's not a lot of access to real estate in the communities.
So we're really lucky that you serve on the Board of Leadership Council, San Mateo County, and we're so grateful for all your participation and support. Can you share a little bit about the importance of cross-sector collaboration and partnership, and how having those connections throughout the county have benefited the people that you serve and your organization?
I think if we bring those 3 sectors together, we actually can get to good things. There's some relationship that you build when you get to meet them, and that transforms into trust of who are you working with, and you know why people do what they do. But you get to the point where you know that people are just a phone call away from you, and that you can express, a need or a specific request, and it really transformed into action. That trust that we're all working toward very similar goals and how we can work together in a way that is more efficient. And sometimes the ball doesn't go on until you are together in those spaces and you start talking.
You love to hike. We've seen photos of you hiking on the weekends with your friends and family. We'd love to know your top recommendations for where we should go if we come out to the area.
I think I hike for equity too, I have to say. My goal is to tell the local community members that these are our parks, these are our spaces, and so it's a goal that we started with the pandemic, also to socialize and just make the pandemic a little bit more easy to digest. But I have two places that I adore. One is Año Nuevo, and my other favorite place to go is San McDonald's Park. Because of the views, you hike like really high up, and you just, this is our space, and you just enjoy it. And that one I try to do on sunny times only.
And I love that you say you hike for equity. That's a really fantastic way to put that.
That group also has transformed into, we do now beach cleanups. The group gave a lot of feedback to the Tunidas Creek project that we were talking about. So they had a say on what kind of benches, what kind of tables. And so at the end, to me, it does have to do with equity.
Yeah, and I love that appreciation that it's your space. It's your, it's the community space, and really being out there and using it and having access to that. Okay, so at the end of our interviews, we do a little bit of a speed round just to find out some things about you. So just first word that comes to your mind, what's your theme song?
I really love this song from singer Chayanne, Salome. It's just, I always feel that if I'm ever gonna run for office, that's gonna be my intro song because it has a very upbeat.
I love it, and I like that if I run for office. So we'll follow up on that in a different interview. What one word describes your purpose?
Justice.
Leadership is?
Connecting to people, listening to what others want to accomplish as a team.
My superpower is?
I think I work really hard and I try to work really smart, and I have this balance where I like to go out and talk to people and farms and all that, but as you know, I really like data and numbers and projecting and analyzing, and so I like that kind of combo. I think it makes me fun.
Yeah, and you are also, as I mentioned this earlier, you're incredibly magnetic. You are such a great advocate for the issues that you care about and for the community. Sorry, that's not a speed round. My superhero is?
My mother. Yeah, everything I do is because she set a really good example for me, especially when it comes to values. We have little, but yeah, she was very honest, and she had a lot of virtues, and I always look up to her.
Mm-hmm. A top quality a leader needs?
To listen.
And if you could wave a wand, what would be your number one wish in this moment?
That I get a call that we have the green light to build affordable housing in Pescadero.
It's a pleasure to be out here. Thanks for hosting us.
Thank you so much for coming all the way here.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hey, nice job.
Nice job.
Until next time.
Thanks, pixel makers.